Greetings from Las Vegas. It's your girl Buddha in the Crucible. We're here in Vegas. It's 67 degrees today, something like that. I felt it though, like, oh man, I'm from the East Coast, but I don't know that I don't know. People say like your blood thins, or I don't want to sound stupid, but not, if you say that, I don't think you sound stupid. I'm just saying I don't know if it sounds ignorant to say that or whatever, which is probably kind of embarrassing considering I have family in the medical background. Like, I don't know, like, are you obligated to know medical basics? Because I never really liked hospitals. Even though there's like a historical hospital next to the hospital where my parents work. And I used to like visit that one, but I was just like kind of a creepy kid, I think. Anyway, how are you? I hope you're well. I'm like carefully trying to get my tea here. This is some of that horny goat weed tea. But of course, I probably defeated the purpose with all my like sugar. And I didn't put sugar, but I put honey and sweetened condensed milk, which is milk with sugar in it, basically. So right, I don't know how healthy that tea still is, but what is? I enjoy it. Anyway, so today I was going to tell you guys about some more karma that came to bite me in the butt over the years, related to friendships. How did I manage to screw up my friendships over the years? Well, one big way was I can admit now, because I want to believe, I'm sorry guys, I want to believe that I'm like still like mature from and like woke, and I want to believe I'm still like evolved from what I look back on and just personally regard as less than stellar behavior in ways that I just feel like I could have done better, like either as a friend or whatever. So I'm gonna open with a story of me fighting my best friend's boyfriend, my best friend at the time. Okay, so um, this is back in the early 2000s, pre-smartphone days. And, well, maybe rich people had smartphones. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Anyway, right. It was myself and another girl in the military, and we were very good friends. We were very good friends. We had just, kind of bonded. We worked in the same place, whatever. Okay, she, she had a boyfriend at the time. And she was from somewhere in South America, and she was seeing somebody from the Caribbean. And I don't know if it matters to you really. It's like it shouldn't matter. It's just to give you some details that I can share, because since there's so many, I won't obviously, to try to be respectful. This was more about me handling something poorly than like telling their stuff. So anyway, at the time, she was complaining, just venting or whatever, sharing that, the relationship like wasn't going so well. Just longer story short, she said what I needed to hear to feel like this was not a good boyfriend. In some of the kind of classic, typical ways of not being a good boyfriend. So I was like already like anti this guy. Like that was my reaction. That was how I honored my friend and all that kind of stuff. So she would always obviously tell me her side of the story, and just whatever, and I would get more mad and more mad and more mad. And I had never met this guy, so I had never gone over her house yet to kick it, but we had been friends for like, I don't know, just a little while. And she said, hey, I'm going to have that, because she had a child at the time. But I think they were the child was like seeing her family or something to where she had the place to herself, I believe, or she had a babysitter. I forget why, but she had the place to herself. So she said, "Hey, why don't you come over, and you know, we'll have drinks and kiki and that kind of stuff." So I was like, "Okay, yeah, cool. I'm free and single." Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, this was during the time where, remember, I told you guys I was like madly in love with this guy, which, right, like, I don't want to be like, oh, I'm still in love with him, but this was, just remember, if you saw the other story, just remember this was the only guy that I ever loved, right? Like, that's really the way I should describe it. The only guy I ever loved in my life, like, in love, ovaries deep, you know, the only guy I ever loved, you know, had kind of like drifted away, you know, it was like ghosted me more or less. Like I didn't know what he was doing at that point, so I was doing me, right? Just that's how it happened. I mean, like I said, I already got my comeuppance for that, so it doesn't even matter. Anyway, um, so she says, "Come over and kick it." I said, "Sure, okay." So because I'm free and clear is the point, and so I go over there, and she has some beers and stuff for us, and you know, we're just in her. It's a cute little like condo style apartment, um, and we're in like a military dominant state, like well, the population, I mean. So so right, she has this cute little like kind of condo apartment thing, and so we're in the sitting room, kind of cute thing, and she's got beers for us or whatever, and I don't even remember. I don't think we had the TV on because we were just so busy talking and laughing, and we were good girlfriends at the time. So so right, like my feeling for towards my friend is to be like kind of this protective person. You know, I'm feeling some sort of way that she won't leave. Like my in my mind, my conclusion based on what she told me is for her to leave. And but then I noticed she never would leave. But I was very young, and I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying I hadn't encountered yet. I was so young that I didn't have any friends that already had boyfriends that they were having a bad time with at the time and wouldn't leave. So, you know, this was my first one of witnessing somebody be with, you know, what based on what she was saying was clearly a toxic person, you know, in more ways than one. And you know, I don't want to implicate this person by giving too many details because it was just like, you know, like I said, the typical ways that a guy could be, you know, bad to a woman in a relationship. So anyway, so right, I said, well, is your, you know, oh, by the way, is your boyfriend's not here, right? And she's like, oh, no, he's not here. Okay, so we're kicking it, having a good time. He ends up coming home, I don't know, I guess early, because I can't put it past her that she might have like lined all that up on purpose, you know, because like I said, I was like real team this girl. Like, I'm not saying I was her flunky, like, okay, don't try to play me. It wasn't like that. Like, I wasn't her flunky, but I'm saying like I like cheering on my girlfriends, my homegirls, you know, at the time where my head was at, who was like some people were out of sight, out of mind, because I want to take responsibility for, you know, another friendship that I did poorly in. That at the time, like but I'm saying like the people that were in front of me, right? Like I was on some, we gotta look out for each other kind of stuff. So he came home. He ended up coming home. So I ended up meeting him. So first it's all polite and whatever, and she's like, oh, you know, because she really, you know, I mean, and I'm not mad at her for that, because, you know, lots of women like to, you know, oh, daddy's home, you know, and I'm not mad at you, I'm not mad at you, but I'm saying, like, this is the style of him coming home. It's like really like, you know, Poppy's in the house, you know, Poppy's home. So, so right, so she like give, you know, pretty much like the whole kiss with your leg, one of your legs like in the air kind of thing. You know, oh yeah, puppy, and all this kind of shit. Whatever. I'm sorry if I sound terrible in Spanish. I won't do it again. Sorry. I'm just a like fake ass Puerto Rican girl, like one slice of me, among others. Anyway, I'm sorry guys, tangent, right? So anyway, so he comes home. They, you know, smooch meet and greet, whatever. She introduced him, and he like looks over our, like, he wasn't exactly respectful when after she introduced me, like, oh yeah, this is my friend, and I had my game face on too, because like, oh yeah, here finally I get to meet this POS, you know, um, whatever, like, oh yeah, this is that guy, like, this is the guy I've been hearing about, this is the guy that's been doing all this stuff, you know. So it was like kind of awkward, because right, like, I think it had dawned on her at the time, like, oh yeah, I've only been bashing him, and now I'm in my home area where I like to really, this is my vice, I guess, and you know, I want to be booed up, even though this is somebody who doesn't treat me well. I'm not ready to leave, but I've only been feeding negative information to my homegirl. So I'm on the, you know, I'm on the defense. So he kind of like, you know, he's at home, so he's like comfy, I guess. And so he tried to flex basically in a way that, right, like at first he was like talking to her in Spanish and just kind of like looking at me like, oh, that's cute, you have a friend, like, oh, you have a friend, like, oh. And then, right, he went in the kitchen and whatever, like, because he's like, I think he was like asking her about dinner, like almost trying to say like, oh, you have so much time to kiki, well, where's dinner? Now they both work on the base, like that, both worked all day, but I mean, I guess again, like, this is the kind of like matrix he was setting up for her, and I mean, she complained about it, but she wasn't gonna. There were certain parts that I think, you know, obviously she liked. So, you know, I think she enjoyed him being this like dominant presence, you know, but it was all an act, because at the time, like, she was being the financially dominant person in their relationship. Like, she was taking care of everything. And then some, and right, like I said, he was not great at the time. Do like everything you can think of for somebody to be doing to a female in a relationship, to mistreat them, he was doing. So it just, to me, it just like, it was just all levels of not cool. So anyway, we have, like I said, we each have a beer, like she and I, and he finally goes in their room. So I guess he's getting changed or whatever. So we're having beers and we're laughing and talking and laughing, and to the point where he finally comes out and he was like, you guys are laughing a lot, and so you're drunk. You know, that's enough. No more beer tonight. And he takes her beer. Oh God. He takes her beer. Okay, whatever. So, cause she sits there, like, she gets quiet, like, cause he comes out, like, we're both sitting in like recliners. She had this like, I think she had this like nice lazy boy furniture or something. Like, she had style and taste. Like, that's the other thing, is like, again, this girl was holding down her own life. She didn't need this guy. Like, she didn't need him beyond an emotional need. And who am I to judge, you know, what's important to someone? Like, how much they're willing to compromise themselves, you know what I mean? But at the time, I found it atrocious. And you know, so I watched him like stunned. I'm stunned. Like, I'm sitting in the chair. I am holding my, like, okay, it's like a recliner sort of thing, I remember, because, and it had like a little beer divot thing, and but I had my hand on my beer, and I was like sitting back, you know. Oh, I'm sorry, go over to Humpty Dumpty. I have more torso than that, don't worry. Yeah, whatever you have to tell yourself. Sexy. So anyway, so he takes her beer, and she just kind of sits there, you know, right? Like I'm looking at the floor or whatever. And then, as if that wasn't enough, I'm like, wow. In my mind, I'm like, wow, really? Like, what is he, the bartender now? Like, and this is beer that you know she bought. Like, well, I don't know that, but the situation was that she was taking care of everything. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. My point is, like, it was very likely she had bought the beer in the first place or was the one who paid for it. And now here he was, like, telling her when she could have beer in a house, in an apartment that she paid the rent. You know, at least the majority of it, but I'm pretty sure it was just her paying the rent at the time. So I'm watching him like, you know, Cinderella stepmother stunned as he takes her beer. Okay, so she was sitting opposite me, like, and then there's like a little coffee table in between us. And then he, you know, as if that wasn't enough, I'm already like, wow, that just happened. We're gonna talk shit about that after you go back in the bedroom, like in my mind. I could never imagine until he started gravitating over towards me that he thought he was gonna do the same damn thing. This MF came over to my orbit, hands on my bear in the little bear seat thing. Walks over, he's standing like kind of towering over us, and he's not like he's not like wide, but he was like football thick, you know. Right, like I'm not gonna lie, like, he wasn't ugly or anything, but anyway, so, but right, like clearly I attributed to her being digmatized because he looked like he probably, I'm not trying to sound real like trashy, but I'm just saying, if she were in a support group or at her confession and saying, look, I was just weak for the D, I would be like, you know what, that's understandable. That's my point. I'm not trying to act like, oh yeah, and if she had, I'm saying that, like, right, he looked like he was throwing it down in bed, and that was probably like what was keeping her rooted like that. Cause he was, there was a deficit, like there was no benefit. And I'm not talking about like material benefit. I'm saying like he treated her like trash in every aspect. Yes, I am smacking my hands as I talk. Like that, right? Like that cliche. That's how cliche this negative situation was. And so right, he decides and he says, yeah, you guys had enough to drink, and reaches for my beer. And my hands on it. Thank gosh, because my hand just happened to be already resting on my beer. So he reaches over to the bottleneck part too, to take it, as though I'm just gonna release it like a pack of doves on the 12th day of Christmas, or whichever day the turtle doves come. So and he's like towering over me menacingly. He was a Scorpio too. No shade. Anyway, so he's like towering over me, like trying to take this beer. And I said, well, like, okay, like this probably isn't verbatim. Like, don't pull this stenographer up on me from that. But he said, oh no, I said, if you, I said, oh no, sorry, okay, right, like I'm building this up so much. I said, okay, hold on. You might you might treat my friend the way you do, and that's her prerogative if she stays. But I am not my friend. I am her friend. And if you try to take this beer out of my hand, I will proceed to break the bottle, and it's going to be me and you right here on this living room floor. I said, and I'm not afraid to lose. Oh yeah, I'll probably get my ass beat. But you can best believe you're going to come out with some strawberries too, honey. And he was like, boo! Right, because he was, I guess, so used to whatever females he was dealing with, including her, since at the time there was a scatterer of them. Oh, that startled me because I have another monitor and my cat jumped up and it was like, whoa. Anyway, I know, guys, like, there must be too much sugar in this tea because I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so, so he's got the stepmother face, like, and I don't know, I'm not even going to include that part of the story, but like I said, he had no shame. He had no shame. Like, he had no shame at the time. So, cause right, like, okay, whatever. So right, I'm staring up at him, and he's looking down at me. Now he got the shock face, and I'm like ready. So what's it gonna be? You know, what's it gonna be? This glass bottle ass twisted in. Sorry. So I won't do that again. Sorry. Probably I will though. But right, like, so he's all shocked, and then he like thinks about it for a second, and I guess, you know, maybe in his mind it's like, oh yeah, like this, you know, probably like whore, because that was like the cool thing to say about everybody. You know, this be like, you know, whatever, like, she's not even worth like the police coming here or whatever, like, because, you know, she'll probably call the police. Like, probably this is, I'm surmising, but probably this is like kind of what he thought about as he recoiled. I'm not saying he was scared of me, but the consequences of whatever way, like, if he were to beat my ass, then of course, right, like, most, I won't say most, but like, if I'm feeling vindictive about it, I'm gonna call the cops. So it wasn't, he had kids and stuff like that, so it wasn't going to be worth, you know, all that. So he kind of like, you know, and played it cool. Like, he didn't flinch, but he looked shocked, and then he recovered and was like, oh, like, basically saying like, oh, we got a tough girl, you're feisty, you know, kind of with that little inflection, but whatever. Like, okay, we're not, like I said, we're not gonna go there. And for this, like, I don't even need to add those extra details to get to the meat of like what I'm talking about, which was me. So right, like, he's like, oh, okay, you know, we got a fight doing, like, oh, you think you're tough, whatever. So I'm like just staring up at him, like, waiting, what's it going to be, like, are we going to be fighting on this floor? Which again, like, how could I have respect and love for my friend if I'm willing to like have a physical altercation in her house? It means I don't care, like, broken glass, blood probably, you know, knocking stuff over, possibly somebody getting hurt to the point where they need an ambulance. Like, I didn't care. You know, I just feel like now that I wasn't respecting her home to be willing to go there to invite somebody else to live, that was, whether it was on his dime or not, he was living there. So, you know, for me to come in there and be ready to fight, it just, you know, it just doesn't feel very classy. Right, I know, but be classy where you can, honey. So, right, it just seems like, I don't know, I mean, I want to have better things to be proud of, you know, like, oh yeah, I was going to, you know, me and that dude would throw down, and then he would have learned, like, you know, like, it's not value creating, and it does mean, like, I didn't have respect for her home if I'm just willing, like, I wasn't even saying, oh, we can go outside, I was saying we can go right here on her, like, paid for rug. You know, oh, you want to go? You want to go? Like, right, like, it's just to me, it's a lack of regard now. So, so anyway, so right, like, she's not saying anything. She's like letting us have our little banter, and she's already been flat. He took her beer, so he retracts. So he takes his hand off my beer. Oh, ha ha. Goes back to what he's doing. And then, you know, so me and this guy would just bicker constantly, like, because I would always be wanting to be like kicking it with my friend. And I think my friend kind of like, and I'm not mad. I'm not like, if it is true, that maybe she enjoyed like feeling like two people were fighting over her. I think at one point she did ask me if I was like gay for her, which no. You know, but I just went that hard for my girlfriends, well, in the military at the time. So, right, like him and I would just like, there would just always be, bleh. I just, right, like I just couldn't stand what he was doing to her, but she loved him so much. Like she was just I don't want to say hopelessly, because I think like I'm pretty sure that they ended up getting married, and now they're like a family, and you know, but right, like they went through so much hell. So right, like again, disclaimer: who am I to judge? I think they found like they decided to start going back to the church and stuff, or like make it consistent, you know, kind of keep it at the center of their lives, kind of stuff. Like it seemed like they were doing that for a minute, and you know, they ended up they both had kids, and then they ended up having a kid. So sorry, a child. And you know, like on the surface it looks all hunky-dory, and I haven't seen them in literally over a decade. So who am I to say somebody didn't, I will go as far as to say clean up their act, because like I said, every way this dude could do a woman dirty, he was doing her the F dirty. Like he and like more than one level, in more than one way. Like just for what she was, for how devoted she was to him, it just seemed really effed up. And I'm okay, not all insert your whininess here, like seriously, I'm not saying it's gender exclusive, I'm just saying the most like cliche textbook rom horror situation, you know, like he just, every aspect, financially, mentally, like every way. Like I don't want to like go as far, you know, because like I said, they apparently either right, like worked it out, and it's not for me to say that they worked it out or not. They could still be right the way they were when I knew them, but if that suits them, who am I, you know? So I'm just saying that I'm just giving the intensity of my mindset at the time, that, you know, if you were a guy doing my homegirls dirty, I just, right, like worse than deliver us from evil. I just wanted to see her nuts on a clothesline. Like I just burned with hate for guys that just, right, like I felt were, you know, and right, like again, who am I? But at the time I felt like these guys are not good enough for my friends. We're not talking about who's good enough for me, or who I think and thinking I'm too good. I'm saying like I wanted my friends to have great guys who at least didn't cheat or put their hands on them or bleed them dry financially or squat in their house or get other girls pregnant and then make them pay for the services. And that's the kind of stuff, like, can you at least not be so extreme? And you know, I've met like, and like again, I don't think it's gender exclusive. I'm just saying that, you know, at the time I had homegirls, and if I found out you were being a bad boyfriend to my homegirl, like I would just go on her word and just, right, if she complained about you, I would get like red hot. I would get red hot. It was just my trigger. I hated that. I hated that. I wanted you to know I hated it. I wanted you to know you're not fooling anybody. Like, you know, I would just be like, right. I would be that hating ass best friend. I would hate. And right, like it, right. I was like sadistic in the sense that like I was bitter Betty about some assault stuff by then. You know, I'd been like assaulted, and you know, some other horrible things that were going on at the base. And so I was already like axe to grind, like that movie Reputation, right? I was like mad. I have been violated, humiliated, blamed, lied on, like, and then, and right, like, I was mad, had an axe to grind if you were a male. So, right, look, I'm trying to own it, So, right, I had a chip on my shoulder, so if I heard, like, all she had to do was, like, act disappointed about you, and I was like, girl, so what's the exit strategy? Like, you need to leave him, F him, look at all this. Like, you're right, I was that hating ass best friend. But, right, so, but I found out, right, like, after a few more instances, like, along with her, and, like, then there was another one that it's really good, but I wish I hadn't let it get colder. It's not cold, but so right, like I had another friend who she was seeing this married guy, and but he was like just whenever he could make time, and then it would just be conveniently only booty call times. I used to drink to get like obliterated like consistently at one point in my life. And this was during that time, and I remember we were over our other homegirl's house, and she had like a get together, so we were just having drinks and having a good time, and my friend, not the girl whose house it was, but right, my friend who was seeing like this married guy, ends up telling him to rendezvous with her over at our other homegirl's house. And I'm like, ew, like, why? He's married. Like, why are you having him over here on some, oh yeah, like, I'm gonna have my boyfriend over? Like, like, for whatever reason, I had a huge problem with it. Right, like, talk about hypocrite, because I told you guys that I was, like, dating married guys. But no, but I wasn't, right, so that's the point, is I wasn't gonna bring them to the homegirl barbecue like that's my boyfriend, you know. And then so I guess it pissed me off that she was acting like he was gonna leave his wife, and it's like, be real, bitch. Like, you're right, like her inviting him over there like it was all cute, like they playing couples, playing house, like he's not on, like he's not gonna be checking his phone in case wifey call him back home. Like, you guys are trying to have him at the barbecue like it's regular, and we know that he's married. You know, I don't know. I thought it was just in poor taste that he was trying to meet my homegirl, because I knew, right, like he would probably try to F her in the truck or his truck or whatever, and I just, like, right, again, it all just, I'm like, he doesn't respect you. Like, that's what pissed me off, is like, girl, you over here believing his lies and stuff like that, because of course he was peddling her the whole, like, oh, I would leave her, but it's just so complicated. Oh, I'm gonna take my out of my pants though, you know, maybe if you know, put your mouth on it or something, you know, it'll help me, like, make it clearer, right? Like, he's giving her that kind of BS, and I'm just like, oh my god, girl, like, why are you being so dumb? Like, he doesn't, yeah, like, it would be one thing if you just admitted it was just all in fun, but you over here thinking it's, like, supposed to be serious, and you're over here, like, challenging his wife, kind of, almost, and it's just, ugh. Like, I never, I mean, you guys watch the video if you haven't, to kind of get the full, you know, picture on that. But, like, right, like, it just, I acknowledge that we were doing the same thing. We both were dating. We both had dated married men. You know, so, right, it's a negative cause in that sense. But I had a hard time with her style, put it that way. Like, it just seemed sloppy to me, or, you know, I don't know, maybe you guys feel like, oh, bitch, you're sloppy. But I'm saying, that style for what she was doing was sloppy. So I'm like, you're gonna fall hard for this guy who's clearly just using you for fun and effect, like just playing whatever with you, playing mafia girlfriend situation. So right. So anyway, she didn't want to hear it really, but then she ended up like she knew I didn't like this guy. Bringing up to our get together at that night. So by now we've knocked a few back, whatever. And then was I in the kitchen or was I out in the backyard? One, like they were either in the kitchen or the backyard, or either we were in one or the other room because I don't remember. I think they were inside because I think I was outside, and then I like turned around and saw her kikiing with him, realizing that he was there, and I flipped the f out. Oh my god! I was like getting up and like screaming towards them that he needed to get the f out, f him. F that dude, he's married. Like, oh god, like oh my god. And we weren't, my friend whose house it was had like other people over, like her aunt or something, like other people that again, like suddenly like so red, no F's given, of no respect for my friend's house, no respect for her other company, no respect for my friend who they all didn't know that this guy was married. I was just like putting everything on blast about this dude, and he was like mortified, and he was like, oh no, F this. And then of course he used it as an out and told my friend like, oh no, your friends are tripping, I'm not doing this anymore. Right, like use it as an out. And then what does she do? Turn around and right, blame your girl. And just right, like as though I was fully the reason she lost him, as though he wasn't already right, like come on. But right, okay, like I was still in the wrong, like the way I reacted, and just like right, sloppy, angry and sloppy. So right, like that was completely inappropriate, and it wasn't my business in either situation. Well, I mean, of course, you should never stand by if somebody's being like physically mistreated, or something to the point of their like detriment. So I mean, I stand by like being upfront about those level of things for the times that I have. But as far as my friend like bringing her married boyfriend to the barbecue, like, and me getting up and like just sounding off and going off and cursing them out and being loud, and just like it was just in such poor taste, and just like right, it wasn't classy at all. So, and then my friend, right, like, what was the result? Like, my friend was mad at me. My friend acted like I ruined her life, because he, like, was using it at the time to excuse himself. So, right, like, that was just, it was just a corny thing to do. It was lame. It wasn't, even if somebody is being disrespected. Now, I don't know if I can if I'm now an expert to say what you should do in the event that you feel your friend's in a toxic relationship. I would say like so for now, okay, boom, segue into Buddhism. Oh, you like how I did that? Ah! Anyway, so right, I personally, what do I do? What would Tony do? I personally chant to do what, or react, or um, make whatever causes are the right causes to respect my friendship, to respect, the person, right, so that I have it, I chant for the wisdom to like, how can I express concern while respecting my friend's relationship. And for me personally, I just find that by respecting each situation as it comes individually, and not like saying that there is any necessarily one way to deal with it. Maybe, I mean, okay, like there was an instance where I knew, real quick, I knew this girl, and she was in a, like, basically, like, it was a sham marriage, but, like, she didn't know it was, or she didn't want to face that it was. And you know, but then like unfortunately this person, and I can tell you this part, I can tell you about this, I can say this about this situation that I feel, um that like this person was abusive again in every level that they could be, you know, physically, mentally, whatever. And it was distressing my friend. And you know, I don't know, like for whatever reason, credit give to whatever spiritual influence was there that night, because I don't know, it was like I was just able to have dialogue with her husband at the time and bring it out without it being too, without it escalating to violence. That I'm not saying it was perfect, but he basically was free to admit he wasn't in love with her. Now, albeit it ended up being in front of like a bunch of people because it was a get together, and so it was still like kind of an embarrassing thing, you know, like but this girl told me, like, because I told her, I said, you know, I'm sorry if you. I'm sorry if that was overstepping, because right, like he said that in front of a bunch of people, and you know, I didn't stop to think that he would go that far at the time. You know, it wasn't like, again, it wasn't the fact of like saying him escalating to violence or saying like rude insults. He was stating, you know, more or less confirming that their marriage was not, you know, a romantic one, and but for her it was, or she was trying to make it that way. And but anyway, like she told me that at the time that she appreciated um that I was able to, you know, she said I just, for whatever reason, I was never able to get that out of him, and that's what I needed to hear. So um that was something that, you know, I was not proud, but I'm saying I was just glad that this person wasn't upset with me, you know, for feeling like I needed to confront her husband about his like extreme mistreatment of her. I'm not being dramatic, like, oh, he took the car to go play pool and left her all alone and God shouldn't do. I'm saying like he was like, yeah, like physical violence, you know, just it was an abusive it was an abusive situation. So and it was just unfortunate. So you know, and again, not saying people don't change, not saying this person, again, this was many years ago, so not saying this person hasn't changed, but or that he was that way ever to any other women or whatever. I'm just saying for this particular situation, this is what was going on, and it got really bad. So anyway, I was just glad that my friend didn't mind that, you know, because it's not necessarily my place. So my roundabout point back to chanting is like, I chant to have the wisdom to do the right thing. So if the right thing is that, you know, you're in a high enough life condition to have this dialogue with someone, that they can, you know, that everyone is like not escalating to violence and insults, even if it is like uncomfortable information. But you know, I just trying to do the right thing, that because I don't want to just ignore it. I don't. I don't want to just act indifferent about, you know, if my friend's getting their ass beat or they're being taken advantage of or cheated or whatever. But at the same time, I have to respect, like, if my friend chooses to be in this relationship, regardless of what I think I know or what I'm telling them and blah blah blah, like, again, and then unsolicited advice, you know, if my homegirl didn't ask me, then I chant to have the right way to open it up if I'm concerned. How can I say, you know, like, ultimately, what's my real goal? To roast this guy's nuts or the well-being of my friend? So I chant to have, you know, to come from that kind of direction, so that, right, my concern is well received. Now, if somebody is getting their butt beat and, you know, you find a diplomatic way to say, hey, you know, are you sure this is a good idea? And they tell you like, F you, I like it, and you know, mind your business, or maybe they say politely to mind your business. Right, like again, like what could I do at that point? They're saying it's consensual and that that's what they want to do right now. All I can do is say, okay, well, I'm concerned. I'm really chanting for you to be protected because I'm concerned. Maybe I don't understand. As long as you're happy and you feel safe, you know, because if I really care about the well-being, and again, it's not about just crucifying males, you know, because of a chip on my shoulder from something people, you know, from feeling twisted about things that happened to me, um, then right, like it's not, to me, it's not coming from a balanced place, and that's what I needed to work on. If I felt like being there for my friends was such a noble mission. Like if I feel like, oh, I'm fighting for you because I'm a good person, you know, right? Like if you want to, you know, get your little good girl badge or I think is going to happen, you know, for the sake of being the heroine, um, in somebody's situation, right? Like, or deciding that's what I must be by saying, oh yeah, look over here, like BS, I'm shining light on BS, you know. I just really chant for it to always come from a sincere place, because I found out the hard way that, right, when it doesn't come from at least a balanced place, I won't say I wasn't sincere because I did care about my friends, but again, like I can't just respect the parts of the friendship I want to. I have to respect, you know, all of it, even when I don't agree. So, and I'm not condoning any kind of mistreatment. I'm saying, you know, to me, it's important to respect the person that you think you're, you know, helping or being concerned about. You know, is it in a way that they appreciate, or at least in a way that's effective towards if your supposed legitimate concern, you know. So right, like to me, I just chant because, you know, I've screwed up. You know, there's other stories, but I'm at like 45 minutes, so I'm gonna cap it there. Well, maybe I guess I could continue because I have a couple of other stories of, right, like less than great best friend things. I like, not necessarily that I did like, oh my god, I stole my friend's car, not like that, but you know, I um I allowed my own suffering to dictate what kind of friend I was willing to be. When I had friends that were bending over backwards for me, and putting up with my shite, you know, for us to have a friendship. And I really, like, I've taken friendships for granted, and like I said, karma has come for me. And I don't even dare say that, like, oh yeah, finally paid my debt. You know, I don't even dare say that. I'm just saying karma has come for me you know, from um like, you know, since times that I did, or, you know, just acted in a way that I don't condone anymore, like, or I've evolved from, or whatever. So, and that doesn't like discount or trivialize, you know, the magnitude of whoever I hurt, you know, even inadvertently. Like, I mean, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I really, like, I need to feel ashamed. I'm saying, check out my life story, by the way. Somebody put me on to this show, Big Mouth, this cartoon on Netflix, adult cartoon. And, right, I was like laughing my butt off. It was so funny to me. And I don't want to sound corny, but I thought it was great that they were incorporating all these kind of like present day schools of thought and messages and stuff. And, you know, I thought it was cool, but maybe because I'm on that side or whatever, if you will, like, please don't come for me, but I enjoyed that show. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute and funny, and I like that it did low-key have well, maybe high-key, but it did have a message, and it was like kind of positive in that way. So even though it's like raunchy, so crass, whatever. So anyway, I'm going to pin it there for now because we've been talking for almost 50 minutes. So thanks so much for listening to me today. I hope everything's going well for you this week. Tomorrow is Friday. I don't know if you do the weekend thing. I know in the work world we don't necessarily have like a weekend, but you know, whatever makes Friday a great day for you tomorrow. I hope absolutely you enjoy and are safe. And please enjoy tonight as well. So we will talk soon. And Namyo Horenge Kyo.